Hey everybody, we are having such a blast at the Women of Wisdom Conference. I want to thank Christina's and the team for inviting us to come and play. I'm Dr. Pat, as many of you know, but many of you don't know. And I get to talk to some of the most incredible people. Jennifer Sundstrom joining me here today. And we're going to talk about a lot of things. We're going to talk about herbs. We're going to talk about life. We're going to talk about how do you create a better world. We're going to talk about, well, maybe even Gina Salah. Who knows? We're just going to kick it up a little bit. Thank you for joining me here today.
Thank you. What a delight it is to be here.
You know, sit down and read. It says you're an herbalist.
Yes.
Some people say you're a herbalist. Never really understood the correct pronunciation. But the point is that you're somebody that loves to hang out with plants.
All of us are part of nature.
I know.
And we tend to forget that. We tend to forget that our life is based on a piece of land physically because we're disconnected from that.
Yeah.
So part of what I do is I help people remember that they're connected to the land and introduce them to plants, just like you would introduce, oh my God, look at my best friend right here.
Yeah. I love what you do. I mean, you know, for somebody like me who has had a healing journey, and, you know, 10 years ago, if I'd have met you and you'd have told me about what you did, I probably wouldn't have recognized it much at all. I probably would have said, that's kind of interesting. But we live in a world now where we're so learning about the many aspects of life that we have forgotten to honor. And, you know, the plants are one of them. I mean, all we need to do is look at what's happening in the Amazon right now, and what we're doing to the rainforest. For you, I love the idea that I get to talk with someone here, lives in Seattle, works in Seattle, and has found a path to help others understand the power of healing through herbs. What in the heck got you pointed in that direction?
So actually, I read this book by Larry Niven called Lucifers Hammer, and it's a classic end of the world type of thing.
Right.
But as I was reading this book, I was like, oh my God, what happens if a comet hits the Earth? You know, what am I going to do? Well, for whatever reason, I gravitated on cheese. Okay, I love cheese. I can't, if the comet hits the Earth, I can't live without cheese. I'm going to take a cheese making class.
And did you?
I did.
Okay.
I did, right? And so that was
Wow.
really kind of the hook that led me into a greater awareness that all of the things that support us are right outside our doorstep.
Wow.
So they're right there. And I didn't know it for all of these years. So that kind of led me into wild edibles. Again, comet hits the Earth. Wild edibles, how am I going to feed myself? It matters that I feed myself. So I just became fascinated that all this food is right here at my doorstep, and I had no idea.
You know, when we start to think about nature and plants, we're sort of getting in touch with this again. I mean, if you talk to my grandparents, they would tell you about the life they lived, what they used to grow from nature. And I think we got away from that for a little bit. But I sense we're coming back to understand the power of our plant friends. What have you discovered is the most powerful reminder of how to live, how to breathe, and how to heal with herbs and plants?
Simple.
Yeah.
Simple. It's simple.
Wow.
And so that's what I'm reminded of, is that there's all these complex ways of doing things in the world. And you can make your life complex.
Right.
It doesn't have to be complex. It can be very simple. So that's what I'm reminded about with plants. I don't use 500 plants, I use 10.
Wow. Most people wouldn't know that, though.
It's simple. You can take one plant in your life and have it serve you in 300
Give us
different
an
ways.
example.
Let's look at
This
dandelion.
is very cool.
Right? So
Yeah.
you can have one person, it's the same like people. You can have one person in your life and they can serve you in so many different ways.
I know Linda, she was just here.
She's a lovely woman.
She's been my friend since 1973. Who
And so
knew?
she's not just your friend, she works with you.
Yeah.
She provides a lot of things in your life. You
Yeah.
don't need 500 friends,
Right.
but you have one friend and suddenly they encompass so much in your life.
So you mentioned dandelions, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
dandelions
Let's
are like
talk about that.
It's, there's a cultural paradigm around dandelions that they're weeds and that
Right.
weeds are bad.
That's right.
So what I find mostly with dandelion, who's like this amazing herb, What does dandelion do? It reaches down into the earth and pulls up the minerals, which is largely lacking in the American diet. But also it grows in disturbed areas, right? So it's a plant that comes in energetically, comes into this plant, and it comes into disturbed areas and heals it. So when we eat dandelion, the whole part of the plant is edible, flower, leaf, root, right?
Yes.
If we, as our culture, if we could transform our belief about dandelion that it's a weed to a food source, a real food source, imagine how much less chemical fertilizer would be dumped on people's lands. Imagine how our life would be transformed if we changed our ideology about this one plant to be a valuable food source. Do you know the women on the Mayflower tucked seeds, dandelion seeds in their pockets so they were sure to have it in the New World? That's how critical it was.
You know, when we think about this and we think about our lives and what you're talking about, the simplicity of this, but it's also a level of awareness that you're sharing. You know, it's a discovery that you've made about yourself, your life, what you're passionate about, but also there's a level of awareness in sharing that information with people that could make a difference. Why do you think that we are so blocked from exploring that? Because I agree with you completely. I mean, we're completely out of control with pesticides in the world. It's actually, you can't even talk about it because we don't even have good information. But, you know, what is it going to take in terms of a mindset? Were you always like this? Did you grow up like this? Or
No.
No, okay.
No, so many people like you. I have my own healing journey as well, and it started kind of in my 30s. And what I've come to realize is that, like, the basic things really are simple.
Yeah.
But we make up these stories and meanings in our head, and suddenly it's all so complex and it's convoluted, and we get so wrapped up and attached to the stories that we tell ourselves.
Yeah, we do.
That don't really serve us, but we're attached to it. I've invested so much time in this story. Okay.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah, the story and the resentment that's associated with the story.
But let me tell you about dandelion.
Yeah.
You know, let me introduce this one little thing to you that could possibly change your life. And it doesn't have to be a big thing. You could eat 3 leaves a day and get all your vitamin C for the day of dandelion. 3 leaves.
Seriously.
That's it.
What are some of the other characteristics of it? Now I'm like really super curious about it.
Oh, dandelion?
Yeah. I mean, I've had it in salads.
Yeah.
You know.
So you can open any herbal book and learn about them, right?
Yes.
Dandelion is a traditional honored herbal. One thing that I love that it does is so many people take diuretics. They take water pills to get the water off their heart or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
But what ends up happening is, you know, people take these water pills and they end up losing all this water, but they also lose the minerals out of their body.
That's right.
So dandelion is also a diuretic. In fact, one of the common names a long time ago was old man's piss in the bed from its
no
diuretic
kidding.
properties, right?
Right.
Very funny.
Wow.
So it's a diuretic, but because dandelion has this quality of reaching down for all of the minerals in the soil, it actually replaces the minerals in our body as it has a diuretic effect. So it's both, right? It does both.
Wow.
That's a miracle. So in today's
I know what I'm going to get after this, after leaving here today.
So today's Western medicine doesn't have that miracle pill that does both the diuretic relief and provides minerals. But here's one little plant that does that for us.
Wow.
It's a miracle, right?
You know, what I'm really struck by is how little we actually do know. And I think, you know, our grandparents knew about it, my grandparents knew about it, and then we lost sight of it. You know, do you discover on a regular basis how unaware we have become about the power that plants can provide us with in our thriving in life?
Not only plants, but each other.
Yeah.
We forget all the time. I forget how glorious I am. I forget what a potential I am and all these things that I could be because of my limiting stories.
Oh, yeah.
But why are we here? To remind each other, oh my gosh, you're amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
You could do all these things. You're this great potential. So all of us forget. I think it's like the sponda of the universe, the veiling and unveiling of the universe. We forget, and then we remember. And the more of us that remember and remind everyone else that we remembered, oh my gosh, come with me, I've remembered. Oh, I forgot. Thank God you're here. So I think it's just the nature of the universe.
Okay, so am I safe to assume that dandelion is your favorite, or do you have a real favorite?
So I do love dandelion.
Okay, but it's not your favorite, is it?
I love dandelion.
All right.
It probably is.
Okay.
And so I'm a city dweller as well. And
Yes.
so I work in suburbia and live in suburbia. And so dandelion grows everywhere that people live. What does that say to you?
Well, what it says to me is, and this was probably me projecting some human factor about myself, it's a survivor, and it thrives in the most difficult and challenging places. And it doesn't matter how many pesticides you spray on it or try to eliminate it, it rises up and it multiplies.
It kind of sounds just like people.
That's right. It does sound like people
Yeah.
in a lot of ways. But not all of us as people have that level of, what should I call it? Vigor, that level of resilience.
We do.
Right? Do you think we do?
Of course.
All
Everyone
right.
has it.
All
But
right.
what I believe is the plants that grow around us are the ones
Yeah.
that we need in our lives.
Okay.
If you look at a plant like golden seal, it grows way in the deep forest, away from people. So that's a plant that we would only want to bring in very rarely. But the plants that grow around us, they have everything that we need.
All right, I'm going to tell you what I got hooked on. Then you can tell me what this means about me. All right.
Whatever there is no meaning.
I was introduced by my naturopath about 2 years ago to juniper. And now I'm from New York. So using, drinking, doing anything with juniper, my relatives are like, what? That's a tree. But for whatever reason, I was drawn to it, couldn't get enough of it, and it worked for me in a lot of ways. And I wanted to ask you, I mean, that's just one example of how we're naturally drawn to something. So what is it that we know as human beings, our bodies know, about a healing property that our minds don't necessarily know?
You are amazingly in touch with your body's senses. And what would be healing for you might not be for someone else. So hallelujah that you listened.
Yeah.
Because juniper might have a very different effect with me.
Right.
So there's a thing called plant spirit medicine. You know, the right plant, when you listen, as you do, you hear and know the plant that you're supposed to work with, and it can bring you the gifts.
Yes.
Yeah. It's not about this. So in Western medicine, we have this particular drug is for this particular thing.
Right.
Plants don't work like that because they have a synergy about them. They have many components and many, alkaloids and many, vitamins, minerals. I mean, lots of things that are in there combining to form a synergistic whole. So when we, as a dynamic living thing, come in contact with another dynamic living thing, right in this space, this is like where the dynamic magic happens.
Yeah.
And it's different. So I love that you found juniper and juniper found you.
Well, and I think that, for me, it's working with people that know what they're doing, people like you. And what I love about this is most people think that learning from herbs, learning from nature is new. It's not, though, is it?
No.
No, it's kind of ancient. I mean, like, I don't even know how far back you want to go with that. But it is ancient.
It is.
What do we need to do to bring the memory of the healing power of herbs back?
What do we need to do? What do we need to do as a whole society? To remember that we're interconnected. So this is not just about plants and people. This is about people and people.
Yes.
This is about all of our relationship with the waters, with the physical realm, with each other, that we're all connected. Why do we pollute the earth? Well, why do we pollute each other?
Right.
Is there really any difference between those things? So when we can begin to see and stop the patterns of violent thoughts, when we can stop those, oh, I'm not going to throw that garbage out my window. Oh,
Right.
I'm going to choose something different. Even just the smallest thing makes a difference in the world. It doesn't have to be a grand thing on a grand scale. I'm going to save all of my tin cans and recycle them. I'm going to take a grocery sack to the store and not take one of their grocery sacks.
Exactly, right.
The smallest thing.
If you look back on your life and you think a little bit about where you are today and where you want to go, What has motivated you? What is that been that thing that, if there was a thing, what has been that thing that has called you forward?
Wow. So in my younger years, I wanted it to be about me. I want to look cool. I want to look good. I want people to like me. That's all me and my ego. That's all about me. So that did call me forth in a number of ways, as it calls many people forth to do things. And what I've come to realize now is that it's really not about me. It's about all of us together. It's about the team of us, the community, because the rising tide lifts all boats, not just me. So we've seen, throughout history, the rising tide lifts one boat, or the elite boat.
Right.
And I think the new way that's coming in is that all of us get lifted up together. So my motivation has really changed.
Wow, yeah.
It's become more group, community, team oriented, where your success is now my success.
Yeah.
And I don't have to do the thing because you've done it and I've supported you in doing it.
Yeah.
So it's really,
it's amazing, isn't it?
it's changed
It has changed.
in a really beautiful way that promotes interconnectedness in my life, in the people around me, in my community, in my work. And I find so much more fulfillment because it's not about me.
Who are some of the people that have influenced you most along the way?
Well, how far back do we go? Of course, your parents are the most prominent influence generally. In the younger years, Susan Weed and the Wise Woman Tradition for plants and herbs, she does amazing work in the world. And what I really got from her is how to embody your voice.
Right.
Whatever your voice is, it doesn't matter if people agree or disagree with you, but how to really and speak it very distinctly and not shy away of wanting to, oh, do you agree with me? I really don't care.
Right.
So I really learned about speaking my own truth from Susan. Gina Salah is a...
Gina's great.
Gina Salah is someone who held that unconditional love for me and who loved me when I didn't love myself.
Yeah.
And what I've come to know is that that is like the most powerful gift that she gave me.
She's truly amazing, isn't she?
She's the real deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
She is the real deal.
And part of this is really stepping back in deep gratitude for, our lives and for others. What would you say is now calling you forward for you to create the vision of the years to come?
What is calling me forward to create the vision of the years to come? What I really, I went on sabbatical this winter, and what I really got for myself is that I really got a deeper sense of who I've chosen to be in the world.
Nice, yeah. Yeah.
Of the qualities that I have called forth in my life and that I want to be calling forth.
Yeah.
What is the way to transform the world? It's to transform yourself. So this aspect of really having a deeper experience of myself and then allowing people to be exactly as they are without expectation and holding that space for people so that they can have their own experience as well.
Wow. It is so great to be chatting with you. What is the best way for people to find out more about you?
Look at my website.
All right, what's that?
www.seattleherbalist.com.
One last question. What would you like to leave us with? What's your personal message?
Okay. Linda, your wonderful assistant said there was no question that you were going to ask that I couldn't answer.
She does say that, doesn't she? She does say that.
My personal message is that everyone is love, and sometimes we forget, and sometimes we remember. But you are already that.
And Linda was right again. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for joining me. All right, we're going to take a short break, everyone. Awesome. Thank you very much.